Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newcastle City Council regular meeting for January 7th, our first meeting of 2025. I'm Mayor Clark presiding. This meeting is being broadcast live on our YouTube channel, and it is also being recorded for future viewing. So please, at this point, rise and join us in the flag salute. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Burford.
Here.
Councilmember Sherlock.
Here.
Councilmember Griffin.
Here.
Councilmember Quigg.
Here.
Councilmember Charbonneau.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Lacotia.
Here.
And Mayor Clark.
Here.
All here, Mayor.
Thank you, City Clerk. Is there any council member who would like to change or alter tonight's agenda? Anybody?
I'm sorry, is the agenda or the consent
Up
items?
with the regular agenda.
Does that mean pulling items from the consent agenda? Or that comes
Not at
later?
this point.
I've already screwed up. I'm out of here.
No. No, so this is the regular agenda. Any council member? So it's a good point at this point for me to clarify, because we have a new council member and we also have a lot of public members here, the difference between the agenda and the consent agenda. So each week, 1 week prior to the council meeting, myself, the deputy mayor, the city manager, and the city clerk get together to create the agenda for this meeting. And it's supposed to be advertised to the public 3 days in advance. It usually comes out on Thursday or Friday. We pull those items off the planning calendar, which we discuss at the end of each meeting. So those are items that we anticipate talking about. They get on the agenda. The entire agenda is then published to the public. Contained within the agenda are items called consent agenda items, and those typically are items that we believe in general would be unanimously approved with little discussion. So they are grouped in one bundle called consent, and then they are voted on as a group. A council member during the meeting, at the beginning of that portion of the meeting, can pull an item off of the consent agenda if they wish to discuss it further. They just have to say, I'd like to pull this off, and that's all there is to it. At the beginning of the meeting now, when I ask for changes to the agenda, I'm asking for changes to the overall agenda. And at that point, it would be something we would have to vote on as a council in order to add it, because it wasn't advertised to the public ahead of time. So the reason we do that is because, again, there's no chance for the public to comment ahead of time, but we do that ahead of public comment in the meeting. Later on in the meeting, somebody could add an agenda item or ask to add an agenda item, but we would need 5 votes or a supermajority, excuse me, because we've already passed the public comment period. So just a kind of a quick synopsis there. Do you have a question?
So at what point do I pull items 9.2?
I will let you know that.
Okay.
I'll let you know. So moving on now, we're going to start public comment. That's the next thing on our agenda tonight. The city clerk will hand me a list. If you're signed up for public comment, we'll invite you to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to discuss whatever topic you'd like. There'll be a buzzer that will ring when your time is up, and we ask you to conclude at that time. Please state your name and neighborhood when I call you up. First person on the list tonight is Jeff Johnson.
There we go. Jeff Johnson with Winfield Ridge. Just beating the dead horse up here, it seems. Just looking back at all the information with our development with Tool, I think the one thing that I keep going back to is there's estimations on the elevation change. To me, that's crazy that they estimate it to be a 15 to 20 foot elevation change when the maximum allowed is 20 feet. There's nowhere within any of the documents that it says it's the maximum of 19.8 feet. I asked for a comment from the surveyor, just a 1-sentence comment stating there's no area in the development that exceeds 20 feet. What I got back was basically the builder saying, well, that's what the paperwork says. No comment from the survey. The plat map has estimations of elevation, but there's no data to back it up stating, this spot over here is an 18-foot elevation change, and this is 20, because that's what they needed in order to disturb the steep slopes to build the roads. So I would really encourage the city council to get the surveyor to comment or to have another surveyor do a peer review like they did on some of the other aspects of the project. So, and then, you know, if that doesn't work out, I think we really all are kind of here wanting a fire gate just to protect the families in the neighborhood. I think everybody's talked about this. The new stance of the planning commission is to not do this. I feel like if this project was proposed 6 months from now, it wouldn't have gone down like this. The city would not have encouraged the through road. The builder then wouldn't be able to build 3 of the lots, and then the project would not have been feasible. So I'm hoping you guys can try to help us with at least double checking that they're not breaking any of the rules on the elevation change and make sure it's, you know, if not, I know maybe we're stuck and then we can go to the fire gate. That's about all I got. So, thank you guys.
Thank you, Jeff. Next up is Lissa Johnson.
I'm on now. Okay. My name is Melissa or Lissa Johnson from Winfield Ridge. I'm here once again, to try to save our neighborhood. Tonight, Councilmember Burford, I'd like to ask for your help. I've seen you at every single community event that I've attended, and I truly believe that you love our community as much as I do. So if there's anyone that can help us, I think it's you. After, excuse me, after talking with Terrene Homes today, I realized the need for the through road revolves around the builder, the developer, being able to build an additional 3 houses. This equates to roughly $3 million of additional profit. It is not fair to the residents of Winfield Ridge, 85th Lane, and White Hawk that we are having our home values and our quality of life diminished, as well as our safety, to allow the developer to make additional millions. Councilmember Burford, I'm reaching out to you because I believe in your love for the city and each community within it. Please help us get a fire gate in our neighborhood. We would like your help in seeing that not only the fire gate is installed, but the developer pays for it out of the profits gained via the through street and the 3 extra houses. Thank you.
Thank you, Lissa.
Yeah, thank you for your comment.
Oh, hold on, yeah. Okay, next up is Rella Johnson.
Hello, my name is Rella Johnson and I'm from Winfield Ridge. I'm here tonight to get a fire gate for my neighborhood. I want a fire gate so my neighborhood stays safe. I also want a fire gate so cars don't go speeding through my neighborhood on the way to the freeway. I want a safe place for me, my neighbors, and my friends to ride around and have fun. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rella. Camden Johnson.
Hello, my name is Camden. I am a resident of Newcastle, Washington. I want to get a fire gate installed to save my neighborhood. It's not fair that a developer is making money by destroying the safety of my neighborhood. The only way to keep my neighborhood safe is to have a fire gate. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Camden. I have Kevin and Kelly Cushman.
Sorry, signed up on the wrong sheet.
Oh. Okay. All right. Stuart Blocker.
Good evening. My name is Stuart Blocker, and I'm a resident of the Donegal Addition for almost 43 years. I just want to thank the city staff for all the work that you do for us. It's not an easy job. I'm a retired public service employee, and I know the number of hours that it takes to do the kind of work that you're involved in doing. Thank you for doing it for us. City Council, I'd also like to thank you for a number of hours that you've invested in the community, because now being a member of the Newcastle Planning Commission, I know the meetings can go long. very long. I do have some general comments I'd like to just kind of quickly run through, and it's really in advance of you, the council, receiving the information from the Planning Commission in advance of the comp plan update. So the ones I'd like to, these are kind of my own personal residential pet peeves, if you will, in Newcastle. Because Newcastle is a wonderful community. It's a good city. It's a nice location. We're located in a perfect location, and unfortunately it's between a regional arterial and an interstate highway, and people desire to cut between the two through our neighborhoods. So one of my comments is I would like to see, I just want to make this in general in advance of, as I said, the Planning Commission work coming to you. I would like to really emphasize the need for not perpetuating any more cross-city streets, connecting streets between the arterial and the highway. I think the ones that we have are sufficient to do the job for our residents and to also support a little bit of regional traffic from regions south of us heading to I-405. Also, I would like to just state in advance that I think it would be great if our ordinances maintain and protect the nature of our small residential city, the character that we have here. We don't want to become a Seattle or an intensely dense extension of Seattle. I know that we are being directed by the legislature and the county to consider ADUs and small multifamily units in redeveloping. Thank you.
Thank you, Stu. Next up is Sarah Goodman.
Hello, my name is Sarah Goodman. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, thank you again for the opportunity to speak before you tonight. I too am here to ask the City Council to please help save the Winfield Ridge neighborhood. I have been a resident of Newcastle for more than 20 years. I love my little neighborhood of 13 houses, and we're a very tight-knit community. But our community is going to be forever changed and sadly ruined if the through street goes through. As mentioned in previous meetings, we're going to lose our cul-de-sac, which means we're going to lose our neighborhood block parties, our basketball games, our snowball fights. But most importantly, we're going to lose the safety for our families and specifically for our children due to the through street. Like many, my home is my biggest investment. Sadly, this new construction and the through street is going to also impact our home values. And most of us are stuck. I can't move anywhere. I can't afford to buy a new home. So what do? I sit in my house and I watch the value go down because of the through street. So my safety is gone, my neighborhood community is gone, and now my home value has gone down. And at the same time, as other people have noted, while the builder's making millions and millions of dollars and kind of walking away and leaving us where we are. So as current residents of Newcastle, I'm asking, and I'm appealing to the City Council, because you're our representatives, you represent us, that you please approve the fire gate, keep our street from becoming a through street. Please help us save our neighborhood and retain our quality of life and our home values. We are your constituents, and we are asking that you please advocate for us and help us in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Next up is Stephen Vimes. Stephen?
Hello, my name is Stephen Vimes. I live in the Walker's Run condominium complex on Coal Creek. I'm here to request that the City Council reverse course and end its contract with Flock safety surveillance cameras. The potential for harm by these legally questionable mass surveillance systems vastly outweighs their potential benefits, especially when they have little to no regulation. Use of these ALPRs in jurisdictions across the country are coming under severe scrutiny, leading to many to heavily regulate or completely ban the technology, including cities in California, Indiana, Michigan, and New York. And I believe Newcastle should do the same. In 2023, a report by the University of Michigan found that recent studies examining the accuracy of ALPRs show that they often misread license plates, leading to disastrous real-world consequences, including violent arrests of innocent people. ALPR errors arise not only from the shortcomings internal to their technology, but from the hot list they depend on to provide matches. In 2023, Detroit police officers knew that the vehicle used in the shooting was a Dodge Charger. Officers then used ALPR cameras to find the license plate numbers of all Dodge Chargers in the area around the time. One such car, observed 2 miles away from the shooting, was owned by Mrs. Robinson. Police arrived at her house and handcuffed her, placed her 2-year-old son in the back of their squad car, and impounded her vehicle for 3 weeks. None of the officers bothered to check her car's fog lights, though the vehicle used for the shooting had a missing fog light. The lawsuit against the city is still pending. Similar cases have happened in Aurora, Colorado, San Francisco, California, and Contra Costa County. The cities had settled for $1.9 million, $500,000, and $50,000, respectively. Even when ALPRs work as intended, the vast majority of images taken are not connected to criminal activity. As most jurisdictions have no policy regarding retention limits, many agencies keep these scans on innocent people indefinitely. This can allow the government to maintain an overreaching and potentially unconstitutional level of surveillance that can lead to abuse. The examples provided are but a few of many, and they clearly show that these systems are faulty at best, and they should not be used in our city. But if the council refuses a ban, then at the very least implement other types of safeguards. Proactive oversight and limits can be established. These regulations can include limiting the amount of time a police department can retain records or requiring warrants to access the data. I urge you to look at the New Hampshire state law that requires the purging of non-hit data, that means vehicles that are not associated with a crime, to be deleted after 3 minutes instead of the advertised retention of 30 days in the Washington state law enforcement policy of up to 60 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Next up is Kendra Simmons. Kendra?
Hi, my name is Kendra Simmons, and I'm from the Winfield Ridge neighborhood. So first off, I want to congratulate Councilmember Quigg for your joining of the City Council. Very glad to have you here. And then I want to thank everyone here for your volunteerism and your commitment to our Newcastle community. Thank you very much. And then I want to speak specifically to Councilmember Burford because I feel like we recently made a connection. So I want to thank you personally for your commitment to our Newcastle community. I love seeing you at our community events, most recently at the tree lighting ceremony that we had at the produce stand. And knowing how much you care about the city of Newcastle and its residents, I'm hoping that you can help us save our street. While we embrace the idea of opening our 85th Street to 85th Lane and gaining those residents as neighbors, I'm fearful for my 3 daughters' safety if we make our safe cul-de-sac a through street down to 405. My daughter's safety is of utmost importance to me. I also have concerns, as my neighbor Sarah had mentioned, and the Johnsons, about the depreciation in our home values for all of us if we go from being living on a dead-end street to then living on a through street. And so as we lose money, the developers in the city will be making money on us with the creation of a through street. So I'm appealing to you to please help us save our street. Thank you.
Thank you, Kendra. Kevin Kirkcaldy. Kevin.
Kevin Kirkcaldy from Winfield Ridge. Thank you for all the time you spend in the interest of our communities. I just want to emphasize one point. I've been here before and we've talked about a lot of these points. The main one to me is it boils down to safety. I timed the amount of time it takes to drive from the lower neighborhood up to our neighborhood and it was 50 seconds. So I cross street can't save more than maybe 15 seconds. And that's in the interest of safety as far as I understand. We want to get emergency vehicles down there quicker in the event that there's an emergency. I think that it's known to us that it will endanger the safety of our families to build that street down there. And I don't think that we should sacrifice the everyday safety of our families and our kids in the interest of a rare occasion emergency that might happen down the hill to save 15 seconds, especially when the people down the hill don't want it either. So just in the interest of safety of the community, I don't think we should be building that road through there. It's everyday safety versus rare occasion safety, and everyday safety seems more important to me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Savannah Kirkcaldy. Savannah.
Hi, my name is Savannah Kirkcaldy and I'm from the Winfield Ridge neighborhood. I think through street makes going outside less safe. I like to go on walks and ride bikes with my sisters, and adding the street would make it so that my parents would have to pause what they were doing to come outside and supervise us. And then if my parents were busy, we might not have the opportunity to go outside at all. And another thing that cul-de-sacs add is privacy. In our cul-de-sacs, houses are in a separate and safer area, but a through street would mean people driving through our neighborhood all the time, and it would give us less privacy and less safety. So I think from those two standpoints, we should either get rid of the through street or at the very least have a fire gate thing. And that's it.
Thank you, Savannah. Next up is Anna Evans. Anna?
Short. Such is my plight in life. I just want to say thank you for everyone for joining tonight, and congratulations, Jim. We've seen you dressed up as Elf with my kids all through their elementary and middle school, and it's just such a pleasure to see you here on the board of our council members. And to the rest of you, I've met the mayor. It's very nice to see you again, sir, and the rest of you, congratulations, and we hope to continue to work together. I would like to essentially mirror what my neighbors have said in regards to safety and of our neighborhood and protecting the kids, protecting us, protecting our home values. Those are all very important. I have a certain, for me, safety is a huge issue for my daughters and myself. I've recently gone through some things where I need to know who goes up and down that street. I have got to know. You're welcome to look at my home address and find out all of that information on your own, but if there's crime in Winfield Ridge, it's most likely from my house. So please, in the safety of me and my daughters, I actively ask you to either A, stop the construction of this road entirely, or do something to protect us from people just ripping down the street, because my house is completely surveyed and no one can make a move in that neighborhood without me knowing about it. I'm not that neighbor, but if I need to, they can just call me and ask me. But it's very important for me and my girls. I have 2 teenage daughters that are in school in the neighborhood, in the area. They run, they play soccer, they run track. They are very active in the community as well as and my ask for you is to please consider our safety, my safety, over a developer's financial gain. Because for me, I'll take that hit. Like, I'll pay them $3 million. I don't have it, but I'll find it. But if it means keeping my family safe, money is no object. And I would like to protect my neighbors, all of our all of our home values as well, but that's secondary to keeping our neighborhood a safe place. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Anna. That concludes our public comment for this evening. The first public comment, there'll be one later in the meeting. Moving on our agenda, the next thing is there's no ceremonial presentations tonight. The next thing is council comments. We'll start with Councilmember Charbonneau tonight.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. First meeting of the year. Welcome, Jim. I know a lot of folks said a lot of nice things. I got to know Jim when his daughter was still shorter than I was, and she no longer is. So
You upset my daughter.
apologies. But just he welcomed me into his home. He's I'm excited to be sitting next to him now and serving with him. So congratulations again. I'm just thankful as well to start my 4th year on City Council. I turned 28 last week, and I remember my first council meeting was the day of my 25th birthday. So I'm really grateful to be here and speak to and represent a different swath than we often see represented in government, and that opportunity is not lost on me. And then I wanted to, January 18th, I'll be participating and helping run. It is going to be at Hazen High School. It is, I believe it's the 13th or 14th annual Taking Down Pancreatic Cancer Wrestling Tournament. Personally, my wrestling coach, and now when I was in high school, and someone I work with now, Roy Magana, he's coached for 16 years at Hazen High School. His father passed away from pancreatic cancer, and we've done this tournament every year. I participated in it as an athlete and now as a coach for a number of years. All the proceeds go to benefit pancreatic cancer research, which is the deadliest form of cancer for folks like his father. And it'll be January 18th all day at Hazen High School. Please stop by for some good boys and girls wrestling. And then we won't talk about it. I anticipate because it's on the consent agenda, but the Regional Coalition for Housing approval and work program. They're a really great group. I've had the opportunity to meet with them, and they do really great work. In the past, we'd had a presentation on affordable housing, and we won't have that this time, but in lieu of that presentation, I'm really excited for the work they're doing, continuing to partner with them and how they build affordable housing within the region. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Quigg, go ahead.
Paul, thank you for doing that fundraiser for cancer research. The reason my dad wasn't in the audience and I had my uncles come up is because my dad died of cancer when I was young. And so I love that you do that, dude, so I'll be there. I want to say the reason that I'm wearing a purple tie, everybody asks me, is this a University of Washington tie? No, Mike, it's not a University of Washington tie. The reason I'm wearing this is because I think I'm here to try to help these two sides come together a little. That's what I like doing in our city, is pulling people together for usually laughter and having a good time and jokes and fundraisers for Risden and Hazelwood and Christmas tree lightings and Easter egg hunts and all that kind of stuff. I want to pull these people together for a different reason. I think this is your leadership, and I think they make giant decisions. I just felt like I could help them out. That was my pitch. Somehow I fooled them into getting me up here. And I promise you that the reason I'm wearing this tie is because it's a purple tie to represent blue and red coming together. Our country is divided. So many people are divided over things, but we have so much more in common. Like Paul and I right now, I don't think you knew my dad died of cancer, but I'll be at this fundraiser to support him. And he'll probably be at the Easter egg hunt again coming up. I want to say that it's an honor to be here. I want to thank you guys for letting me give a shot at this, and staff, good luck, strap in. Anybody that's in the Planning Commission meetings knows I ask a lot of questions. I'm curious by nature, and also I just want to make sure these people get everything they deserve. And I wasn't planning on saying, but all you folks that are here on the streets issue, I hear you. And I can't promise you anything. I hardly know how to run, I've already screwed up in the meeting. But I hear you, these people hear you, and I promise that you will be heard. I'm not saying you'll get everything, but you will be heard in this meeting and every meeting going forward. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that these different sides come together to get some solutions that we can all agree on, hopefully. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Griffin?
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Welcome, Jim, to the council. We're so happy to have you on the council. Welcome to the folks who are here tonight. It's good to see you here. And those people with the problem in Winfield, I tried a meeting ago to correct this issue, but was told that this was in violation of a code. It's interesting that before when we talked about codes, some of the codes were viewed as ridiculous, and some evidently this wasn't. But I'd be in favor of making it so that you don't have a through street. I will be in favor of the fire gate, but I know that the problem with the fire gate, sometime down the road, somebody's going to want to open it up so you can drive through there. We've had that in our neighborhood in where I live, so it's something we have to deal with. But again, it's good to see you folks here. Appreciate your coming tonight. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Sherlock?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome, Jim. Glad you're here with us. Thank you, everybody, for coming and speaking. I know a lot of you have done it a few times, but I think it's always a little difficult. So appreciate the bravery, especially from young people. I just wanted to say Happy New Year and reflect a little on our wonderful holiday events in the city. I'm really glad to see Chris and Robin Brown in the audience tonight because they brought a lot of joy to a lot of people this holiday season. So thank you guys. I wanted to specifically call out the Community Activities Commission for all their work. Amy George, who works for the city and really kind of executes a lot of the events. She did a fabulous job. So thank you, Amy. Dave Franklin from the Fruit and Produce Stand, who hosted all the holiday lighting of the tree and the Hanukkah lighting. We always appreciate him and his wife hosting all of those events. Of course, Jim Quigg, or maybe I should thank Buddy the Elf for all the fun at the holiday tree lighting. And a big thank you to the Chamber. They Chamber of Commerce of Newcastle this year sponsored a lot of the events. And so thank you to them, and especially a new member of the Chamber Board, Renata Emerson, spearheaded the new, hopefully annual, I'm gonna put it out there, holiday pop-up market, which was super fun. And I know she has plans already to make it better next year. So thank you. And I wrote down Chris and Robin Brown, but you're already here. So thank you guys. The Scouts did a lot to help, and of course all the volunteers and the Arts Council. So just really wanted to take a moment to thank everybody. It was really fun. My last comment is, I think very cool. I wanted to share with you all. I serve on the King County Children and Youth Advisory Board, and it's an advisory board with a lot of people that do a lot of really amazing work with youth in our county. The advisory boards, I don't really have a lot to report usually because it's advisory. We don't make a lot of decisions. We have a lot of good discussions. But what I wanted to highlight tonight was the King County actually adopted tonight, or today, earlier today, they had a meeting and they adopted a Youth Bill of Rights, which is something that people on the board, not myself, but a lot of people and young people especially, have been working for about 10 years, and they finally got it passed tonight. So it's very cool. I'm happy to share more offline, but just the Children and Youth Advisory Board recommended that the council adopt it, and they did, and it was just a really awesome thing to celebrate. So thanks for letting me indulge in that.
Councilmember Burford?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and Happy New Year, everyone. And my heartfelt welcome, Jim. And I'm so excited to see you are here. Together, we serve on the council. It's also my mission to bring everybody together. we can have different opinions, different ideas, but we share the common ground for our city, for our people. And so I thank you for coming, the residents of, including adults and children, and I heard you, and thank you for your courage and to come up and speak up. I just want to say, especially including the courageous children, and the people even reach out to me, including my name. I'm so grateful to serve, and I want to make sure that all of your voices are heard, and so we will be in contact, and we will work with the city together and developer. Also, I want to thank Chris and Robin. You are here, and I really, really want to thank you to bring such wonderful, magical holiday cheer to our city. And I attended last year. It was vivid memory. I always remember. This year too, you joined our first ever Newcastle pop-up market, actually organized by Newcastle Arts Council. And Renata, I want to give a great shout out to Renata, who is our dear Newcastle resident. And she brought this idea to life. And what a wonderful community we have. I really hope this will become our Newcastle tradition, one of the traditions. I was there the entire day. And also Frati Barrow, Alison Sweeney was there. And of course, the best Santa, Mr. Santa and Miss Santa. And of course, Jim, the best elf. We were all there. And also Council Member Sherlock was there as well. And I was so happy to see everyone from the community. Nextly, I want to thank our tirelessly working, just our city staff, keep us safe and do what they do. And Activity Commission and the Planning Commission for our comprehensive plan. And Amy George, has been really, really just on schedule, even ahead of schedule, letting everybody know what's going on in our community. And also for the wonderful Newcastle tree lighting and Hanukkah tree lighting. And I want to shout out to Dave, Franklin Dave, our Newcastle fruits and produce owner. And every year, he just hosted this wonderful, heartwarming community gathering. And also, of course, with Jim and also Scully and Christina and everybody from the Newcastle, our Chamber of Commerce of Newcastle. I want to shout out. And I just want to say another one. I want to shout out to Alison Sweeney. So she is on board of Newcastle Chamber of Commerce. And I want to let everyone know, you will be able to save a week of cooking time, because we will have a first ever Newcastle Food Week. So featuring a lot of really, really wonderful cuisines, unique restaurants and menus. And so check out our city's website and social media. And, truly you will enjoy such a good collection of cuisine. Lastly, also it's important to Lunar New Year celebration. We are going to welcome the Year of the Snake. In Chinese culture and Asian culture, we regard Year of the Snake as Year of the Little Dragon. So I propose, as your council member, I propose that our city issue a Lunar New Year proclamation, recognizing the significant impact and contributions of our Asian community, which makes up nearly 37% of our city's population. As one of the world's largest holidays, Lunar New Year became an official state holiday in our Washington state last year. I was in Olympia. I testified in the two years in a row. I spoke in front of the House and in front of the Senate. And I was so thrilled. Thanks. I really, really want to shout out to our state representative, Millian Tai, for her initiative and effort. So we are here in Newcastle, and other states before Washington already recognized Lunar New Year as their state's official holidays. And many nearby cities, including Bellevue, Renton, City of Seattle, they have already honored Lunar New Year with specific proclamations. And I firmly believe it's really, really appropriate we do the same. This recognition will not only acknowledge the Asian community's tremendous contribution to our city, but we can go back 140 years ago. So also foster a sense of belonging and inclusivity. By issuing a proclamation, we can demonstrate our commitment to celebrating diversity and promoting cultural understanding. It's a wonderful opportunity to bring our community together and make everyone, each and everyone, feel valued and included. Let's join forces to make this happen and show our appreciation for the Asian community's invaluable contributions to our city. Thank you. 谢谢.
Deputy Mayor Lacocha.
Thank you. Good evening. Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome, Council Member Jim Quigg. I just also wanted to thank the neighborhood Winfield Ridge, and especially the young leaders of Winfield Ridge for their comments. The city manager and the staff is very well aware of this issue. This has been brought up. We have discussed it multiple times, and the council will work with the city manager and try to come up with some solution. And hopefully we will have a very productive 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Moving on to mayor comments, I just have a couple. So I sent out to the fellow council members a request for committee assignments. If anybody would like to change committee assignments, just email me. I did get a couple so far, so I'll be letting you know pretty shortly how we're going to make some changes. The last thing I have is our fellow council member Charbonneau is a applicant or candidate, I don't know how to say it properly, for the vacant 41st District State Representative slot that was recently opened up when Tana Sen was elevated to Department of Children and Families, I believe it's called. So I just want to wish you luck with that. It would be great to have a Newcastle, even though we often clash up here. Obviously, you might wonder why I'm endorsing him, but he's from Newcastle, so why not have a Newcastle person representing us in the state? So good luck to Councilmember Charbonneau. Okay, moving on, we have council committees. Any council committees? I know the Finance Committee, I don't think we had any meetings in December. Any council committees? Okay. Do you have a council committee?
I want to make a motion for this, my comment. I want to wrap up this one.
We've finished comments already. We're moving on now to.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we finished comments. We're moving on to committee assignments now. So any regional committee assignments, any regional committees, again, probably no meetings in December. Okay. In your agenda package, there's a commission report for the CAC. I'm not going to read it out. If you have an agenda, you can go online and look at that report from the Community Activities Commission. I know in the next upcoming meeting, they'll have a work plan to present to us. City manager comments are next. City manager, do you have any comments for us?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Just want to welcome Jim. Welcome. Happy to answer questions, meet with the directors, and get you going. And so, good to have you. Happy New Year, everybody. That's all I got.
So I do have a question for you, City Manager. So I've been captioned on some emails between yourself and the golf course. Can you speak to the status of the trees along the road? I know it was what you can publicly share.
Sure. So we've been working with the golf course on getting hazard trees out of that area along Newcastle Golf Club Road. We disagree with them about whose responsibility that area is off the road right of way. But we're working with them on who's going to get the trees out of there. Our position has been that it's theirs. And if they're not going to get them out of there, we are, and then we'll send them a bill. We'll let them know, we'll give an update once we decide who's getting the trees out of there, but we're not going to wait forever.
Okay, thank you. All right, now moving on to the consent agenda. So I know this question came up earlier. The consent agenda, any desired changes or alterations to the consent agenda? Go ahead.
Can we talk about 8.2 and 8.5? It was 9.2 and 9.5. Apparently the numbering changed, so forgive me, I had 9.2 and 9.5 written down, but I think now it's 8.2 and 8.5, the audited bills and the pavement project
It's
program?
9, it's 9.
Okay, great, perfect. I'd like to pull those off the consent agenda, and I know we got an email to me. Forgive me, I have a paying job. I wasn't able to look at the emails, so if we could pull them off, I could just, whatever you said in the email, just share it with me, and then we can move on.
Okay, so we'll pull items 9.2, will become general business item 12.1, and 9.5 will become general business item 12.2. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah. Can we also pull out 9.7 out of the consent into the general business?
9.7. 9.7 becomes general business item 12.3. Any other required changes? So show the consent agenda approved with those amendments or alterations. Okay, moving on. We have no public hearings tonight. We have no unfinished business, so now we're back to general business. And item 12.1, which was previously 9.2, Councilmember Quigg, you want to speak to this item, please?
Again, Scott, I just want everybody in this room to hear what I'm saying. These guys work their butts off. So I got an agenda with all this stuff I didn't understand. I can hardly get through this meeting without making a mistake. I tried to read through it, understand all of it, and this is because I'm new, right? I just don't know the process. I don't understand, I don't know the names, I don't understand the dollar amounts, I understand the procedure. And so I sent an email to him relatively late. You got right back to me with some great answers, and he reached out to Jeff and Aaron and like Jane or something like that. And I know I've got a bunch of emails I got to catch on. My question, because my understanding is the consent agenda, we don't discuss it. I just want to understand all these projects before I just say yes, because I feel like I don't really understand them well enough to just say yes to something I don't understand, and just have these people realize the staff works their tails off, and based on what little I read in the emails, to get the best deal we can, and that guy manages a good team. Can we just talk through it? Maybe just a minute or two, Mr. City Manager Pingle, just walk me through my questions, high level, like how we came up with that audited bills list. That 90% of the people in the room don't even know what I'm talking about. But can you just help me understand it better before I say approved, please?
So the audited bills, essentially, we have to put in front of the council all of the checks we wrote, the things we paid for from the last meeting to this meeting. The process goes through, we have purchasing policy, so the staff has to follow the purchasing policy to approve invoices and vouchers to be paid. Once that, we get a voucher list and paychecks and things like that. We have our council finance committee that then, a member of the council finance committee, and they just switch off. They go through invoice by invoice, check by check to make sure the detail is correct, the checks match, the invoices match what is getting paid for. And then that audit of bills is summarized in the audit of bills that you see in front of you in the packet. And so once it gets to the city council at this level, it goes on consent because it's just a formality at this point. It's gone through something that our city does that is fairly common, but not every city does it, is that we give our finance committee fiduciary responsibility. That means they get to make financial decisions. And so up to a certain point. And part of that responsibility that they carry is that they have to go through the auditor bills.
Was there a specific item that you had a question about other than the general question?
I know these people want to get out of here, so, and this is not me at planning commission meeting. A planning commission meeting, Aaron's used to it. I know what I'm talking about. I'll ask a zillion questions. I understood 70% of what Scott just said. I will raise one issue just to ask specifically, and then I'll leave it alone because I know I'm the new guy and I don't want to be that new guy. How do we choose, like I saw there was a lot about sending it, sending money to, there was like a bill for like $1,200 and the ones below them were like, $100, $100. Do we like if these are like cleaning or street sweeping or like pavement repair, all that kind of stuff? Like some of them are like, there should be like a trigger, or how do you guys figure out like how much, A, like where do they work? And then B, like, why do we spend more there than other places? And I know you guys look at it apparently. I didn't know that really when you sent me the agenda. I got this 80-page long thing, not knowing what to do with it. Started typing notes, pointed it, sent it to you in an email. That's all I did, Scott. So can you just kind of walk me through that? Like, how do you decide like where to send the crews and like why this job is going to cost a lot more than that job? How do you figure that out? And that's my last question. I'm not talking again.
I think you're talking about two separate things. One of the things you're probably seeing is payments to either consultants or for plan review. Most of those things that you were asking questions about was plan review.
Like landscaping stuff, like it was like that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, so there's two things. So on the plan review, all of those we have a contract with those reviewers, and then we get reimbursed on the revenue side for those expenses. On the landscaping stuff, I guess it would depend on whether we're talking about our landscaping contract, which is fairly finite, but there's also, if we just had a terrible windstorm and down trees everywhere, and so if we have other projects like that, there will be kind of anomalies where we pay more for something to get done.
Councilmember Charbonneau.
Yeah, question for the city clerk. Since that was approval of the audit of bills and it was pulled from consent agenda, do we need to make a motion to approve? Okay, I move to approve the audit of bills covering through December 20th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the audit of bills through December 20th. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Audit of bills is approved. The next item on general business, which was 9.5, is now 12.3. Go ahead, Councilmember Quigg. You asked for this item to be pulled.
So this was the one about the is this the paving one? Which one is this? This is, paving management. Can you just help me understand how, is this related to the asphalt being put over the streets, or is this different from, I see like, thank you very much, Councilmember Charbonneau, for helping me catch up with what the adopted 2025 budget authorizes $900,000 for this project. The total fee for the engineering design is so we're doing a $65,000 design for nearly $1 million project, right? Can you just help me understand what's the $1 million project?
I'm going to ask Jeff to speak to that.
Yeah, it's in the agenda bill you've got in front of you. There's a list and a map. The map is one of the exhibits. So it's these streets essentially that were slurry sealed in 2020 to do an asphalt overlay of those streets.
What's a slurry seal?
Slurry seal.
Say that 5 times fast, Chris Brown. What's a slurry seal?
It's a maintenance technique that is used to extend the pavement life. It's similar to, you've seen them do parking lot seals or driveway seals where so it's just a little bit more robust version of that.
This is awesome. It's so fun being up here, you guys. It's amazing. I just got to tell you, this is so fun. Thank you for your patience. And by the way, this guy, Jeff, put together a heck of an email. I know I emailed you guys on a weekend. I had everything I was asking about answered from this guy. So Jeff, thank you for all your hard work. I noticed the map shows it's all right here, like in this one spot. So it's $1 million to slurry seal?
No, the location is where it was slurry sealed. So that's in the Donegal and those neighborhoods there, the streets.
Okay, I don't want to take off anybody in the Donegal. So what happened? What, is this, is this a seal of a
So-
broken pavement or?
No, so the pavement, the T11, the pavement management program is a capital maintenance program. That's the biggest asset the city has is the streets. And so we have a structured program to go through. We evaluate the program, the streets, every 2 years and 4 years. That's T13. So we're doing that in 2025. And we evaluate the pavement condition, and it gives a national standard of pavement condition index. So basically it goes from 0 to 100. 100 is a brand new street, 0 is it's garbage, it's dirt. So there's an opportune time to repave the streets before they get to a point where you can't repave them, they've fallen apart too bad. And so that's about a 60 PCI. And so those streets are in that range, and so it's an opportune time to pavement condition index. So when you get your email, that there's some more information about that there.
I've got my questions answered. That's awesome.
Okay.
I'm happy. Thank you. Sorry about that, Scott.
So just as an additional follow-up, 2 years ago, this council body voted to redo the streets that had been slurry sealed because the workmanship was so poor, and the neighbors that lived on those streets had to deal with quite a mess. So this is a redo, essentially, of the streets that had been poorly sealed previously. So that's where the slurry seal comes in. Okay, the next item, was there questions? Oh, yes, we do. Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Well, go ahead with your question.
This consultant to plan this, did we send it out for bids, or is this just somebody that we knew that we wanted to have do it?
In Washington State, you must select engineers by qualifications. It's illegal to solicit bids from engineering firms. So it's based on, it's a firm that we have had successful past results and work well with. So they've done this the last several years, pavement design for the city.
So you just selected somebody off the list of the Washington State recommended?
It's selected off the consultant roster, yes.
Okay, so it wasn't a bid item?
No, you cannot bid for engineering services in the state of Washington.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so oversight of my part, we need a motion. Councilmember Shrock.
I move to approve Resolution 2025-1020, approving a design contract with, am I on the right one? Yeah.
Yes.
Gray and Osborne Incorporated as presented.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2025-1020, approving a design contract with Gray and Osborne as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Moving on, to our next item was general business item 12.3, which previously was 9.7. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, so my question on this one is, there's a 250,000 has been allocated for preliminary design. The design contract is 187,990. And this widening project is scheduled for 2030. So why are we doing this now, like so early? It's in 2030.
Yes. So the widening project goes from 119th Avenue to 128th along Newcastle Way. In 2026, we have design of an intersection improvement at 123rd and Newcastle Way. That's T55. That's in the middle of the corridor. And we want to be informed of what the ultimate corridor widening is going to look like before we begin the design of that intersection improvement. So one of the things we've looked at is potentially a roundabout at that intersection. We want to know what the entire corridor layout's going to look like, so we don't wind up doing an intersection improvement that then is not going to be compatible with ultimate widening down the road. So this is a preliminary design along that corridor. It will also benefit us with, then we'll have some more accurate construction cost estimates that will inform the budget for those future years.
Go ahead, Councilman.
If we don't do it now and we do it in 2 weeks, is that okay? If we approve this in 2 weeks and not today, since the project starts years from now, can we approve it like in 2 weeks instead of today, or is it going to throw things off?
That's fine.
I personally, I'd like to give it 2 weeks so I can understand it better.
So my comment on this, I had a little concern about this too, is the time frame. I remember talking in the past to Councilmember Bissett and he said something really interesting to me. He said, while he was on the council, 8 different times they voted to hire a contractor to study the downtown strategic plan. And of course, you know, it probably happened again. So the point is that the money was not well spent. And here's my concern is that if we do a study now, by the time we build this, we're going to have to hire a contractor to study the design that we already did, and we're going to spend more money. And that bothers me a lot. I get what you're saying about we should know what the road's going to be like before we do the intersection, but we, as a council, have we even really discussed what we want to do with Newcastle Way? Like, should it even be widened? I mean, and why? So I would be not in favor of voting for this because it seems like we're putting money that we're going to have to spend again later. And that bothers me based on our past history of other projects. So my concern here is that we're spending money that we don't need to. So I would not be in favor of doing this. Perhaps I can be convinced in a couple of weeks, like Councilmember Quigg said, but currently I would vote no for this. Any other comments, Councilmember Sherlock?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm fine to discuss further, but we have discussed this. Every year we have several discussions about capital improvements, and that's when we discuss this stuff. So we've discussed widening Newcastle Way, and like I said, we have a new council member. I'm happy to spend some time and go over things, but it is a little frustrating when there was several meetings last year where we had the opportunity to really dive into this stuff, and apparently we didn't, but it's just frustrating to get things held up all of a sudden out of nowhere. But again, I understand Councilmember Quigg is new, and I'm always happy to take the time to go through things, especially if Director Braun says we have the time.
Did you have another comment?
So this is completely different than the downtown, that's a planning level design, this is an engineering design, and this is consistent with how we've done May Creek Park Drive. We did a preliminary study on T33, which the eastern half was constructed, and now we are taking that preliminary design that was done several years ago and picking that up and going the final design, which is underway right now for construction later this year, or construction next year. And then we did on the western half of May Creek Park Drive, we did a preliminary study to decide where to put the sidewalk, and then we did the construction. So the information is used, the survey data is then picked up and used, so it's not redone. Certainly council's purview, but it's money that's not wasted. It's then picked up and utilized for the next phase of the design.
So what you're saying is that in 5 years, we would use the study from 2025 and not redo it or make additional expenses?
Well, there'll be additional expenses because it's a preliminary design. So you get the survey data and you decide where things are going to go, like where you're going to put the sidewalk, where the drainage. It's essentially a 30% level design. So then in 2029, when we currently scheduled to pick up that design, and then we take the 30% level design and elevate it to 100% level design.
Councilmember Griffin.
When was this project approved originally?
Well, it was the last time when the Transportation Master Plan was adopted in 2020, and there was a prioritization effort that went through, and this project was selected. Well, it's been on the comprehensive plan for longer than I have been here.
Well, yeah, it was talked about in 2020, but it was already a project that we were going to do at some future date.
Correct.
And I've asked about what will be the improvement. How wide is it going to be? Is it going to be just adding a lane, or is it
Yes,
going to be?
adding turn lane and sidewalks.
And the nature of that, what's it going to do? Is it going to be more safety?
Yes, and providing opportunities for non-motorized users.
Well, I've lived in Newcastle since 1978, and I've only seen one accident on Newcastle Way in that time, and that was about 4 months ago. So I'm not sure that, we're spending a lot of money that was tabbed at $4.5 million for the widening, and now we're talking about spending another $250,000 to get it underway. I don't see that the urgency is that big to jump into it right now.
It does provide non-motorized opportunities. I just saw a person today, in fact, walking in the shoulder in a car swerved into the opposite lane of direction about 500 feet in front of, no, about 100 feet in front of me, just east of the fire station. So it does provide sidewalks, provides a safe walking place for people to connect to transit, to visit other people's neighbors, to go to the fire station.
On the south side, there's a walkway that goes all the way down to Newcastle Way.
On the south side, correct, but not on the north side. And so if somebody were coming from the apartments across the street, they wouldn't have that opportunity to connect there.
Councilman Quick?
I joined this council to unite it, not divide it. I think the fact that we're discussing this so vigorously is great. This reminds me of one of my HOA meetings. We kick ass, take names, we argue about stuff, but we usually come out to some kind of consensus, a point, a project. I don't want to have a vote on this if we have to have a vote. This better be a 7-0 vote. All I'm asking for is 2 weeks. I've been on the job for what, an hour and 6 minutes. Give me 2 weeks to understand this stuff is all I'm asking. And please, please don't have a 4-3 vote. It'll kill me to have a 4-3 vote. I want a 7-0 vote that we're just going to push this to 2 weeks from now. I'm not questioning this guy. He knows this stuff. You've been here longer than anybody. I know you know your job. I'm just asking so that I can understand this amount of money, and that's all I'm asking. And I'm not saying no. I'm just saying, I feel like I'm talking to my kids. I'm not saying no, honey. I'm just saying, give me a minute to look at it. So please, can we not have a 4-3 vote is all I'm asking.
Just to clarify, I don't have any concern with the 2 weeks. I was just responding to questions that were questioning the project.
You're great. I'm just telling my people here, because I'm not allowed to talk directly. Like, if it was a planning commission, we'd all talk directly, but you guys have way sharper rules. I'm just saying, personally, to me, Mr. Mayor, it'd be swell if we can have a 7-0 vote just to table it for 2 weeks.
Last comment. Go ahead.
I move to defer this agenda item until the January 21st meeting.
I don't think we need a motion. We just we just leave it as unfinished business, correct, City Manager, and move it to next meeting. Do we need a motion for that?
Might be better to have a motion to table.
So I'll move to defer this
Okay.
agenda item to the
I'll second.
21st, January 21st meeting.
Can we not just have a date?
Next council meeting.
Or maybe, not have like a fixed date, just move it to some other date, so that we don't know how much time it will take.
There's,
So how about make a motion, so the motion on the floor is to defer this to the January 21st. Any modifications or amendments to the motion? No? Okay. The move to table this to the 21st, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Item 12.3 will become a business item for the next meeting. Okay, good discussion. And to be clear, Councilmember Quigg, there is no, I know you're deferring to like people's time and all that, but if we have to discuss something and it takes a while, then that's what we'll do. So don't worry about, time frames, necessarily. It's not a big deal. Okay, additional public comment is next. City Clerk, do we have anybody?
I think some have a motion for it.
What's that?
I think some have a motion for it.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, okay. All right, so the second public comment, the rules, the guidelines are the same as the first public comment. We'll invite you to the podium. You have 3 minutes. The bell will buzz when your 3 minutes are up. We ask you to conclude. Please state your name and neighborhood. The first person signed up is Ben Menenberg and family.
They were just here to congratulate me at the beginning.
Oh.
I think they thought it was a sign-up sheet.
I
Like
thought I had to
those
sign
folks
up to
did.
congratulate you, okay. All right. Well, all right. So is there somebody, we'll just open it up. Anybody in the audience want to make a public comment? I see a hand raised. Come on up, Carol. Carol, raise her hand first.
Good evening. Carol Simpson. I live in the Lakeview Apartments. I won't be here January 21st, so I want to comment on the Newcastle Way project proposed. What about need? I encourage all of you council members to pull out your comprehensive plan and look at your list of transportation projects. Look at the scoring, look at the high, medium, low need, and look at your map. The map shows all the intersections in the city, and it scores the intersections for level of service, A, B, C, D, E, F. There's only one F intersection in the city, and that's Newcastle Way at Golf Club Road. Now, I think there was supposed to be a study on that, maybe a proposed roundabout a few years ago, but that didn't happen. There was a study on Newcastle Way at 116th, spent money on that for a roundabout. Need wasn't there, it didn't get built. There were some studies and some engineering drawings on extending the sidewalk down 129th in 2019. The budget allocated construction funds for that project, didn't get done. What's going on? Sometimes I think it's just keep busy. There's a lot of REIT money to spend. I contributed when I sold my house. I'd rather see some of this REIT money go towards parks, not all streets. Look at the need. Do we really need a roundabout at 123rd? I lived in the Olympus neighborhood for 25 years. We used 123rd to access our neighborhood for 25 years. I still don't see a level of service needed to improve access to that, turn left, right, in and out of that neighborhood. So I agree with Mayor Clark. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
Okay. Also, I'm a former architect. I know where architects and engineers went down to Olympia and lobbied. We are design professionals. We want to be considered based on our design qualifications. It isn't about the money and what we charge for a fee, because it's how the project looks. So that's why architects and engineers are exempt from bidding on projects. It's based on our qualifications, or my former qualifications. I really like Newcastle to look more Newcastle-y. That's why I like Jim is sitting here. He's going to help our city be a more cohesive city. Drive up and down Newcastle Way. The sidewalk was put in before I was on council by engineers. Look at every block is different. Every block was done cost effective. The sidewalks here, the sidewalks inboard. Some of the blocks have street trees, some don't. How well cared for is it? Then it became our signature street. So what is your goal here? Is it just public safety? Or is it, this is your signature street? Do you want to look cohesive? Do you want every block to look the same? Do you want to have the same beautiful trees that flower? Do you want to have the same street lights that you hang American flags on every year during the whole month of July, so that when people drive into Newcastle, they know we're in Newcastle? Because those street lights are those green ones, just like we have on Coal Creek Parkway. Look what Renton's doing. When you drive around and see improvements in Renton, they're having some identity just through their street poles. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. I've regained my speech after that. You startled me. You agree with me.
Somebody else had a public comment too.
All right, I saw another hand. All right, come on up. That's you, okay.
Microphone. Kevin Cushman, Wind Tree neighborhood. I am an engineer. So back to the paving subject. Is the city suing the engineer and the paving company that did the faulty work that you have to replace after 2 years? I didn't hear mention of that. So if you paid $1 million 2 years ago, go after the money. Why are you not? I didn't hear any mention that you're going after money, making them pay for this next, even though they're not going to do it, pay for at least part of this next work. Right? That's how it's done in business. You go after them if they do faulty work. They put a bad roof on you, you sue them. Right? So that's point number one. Number two, 116th. Whose crazy idea to mark it down to 25 miles an hour? It's like a school zone for 2 miles. It's a joke, right? Newcastle Way's 30, Coal Creek's 30, that main road's 25. No idea why they did that, right? So fix that.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Okay, I saw another hand. Come on up.
My name is Tracy Bowen, and I am a resident of Newcastle. I live at Newcastle Way in 132nd Place. I also work across the street at Hanson Brothers Moving and Storage. I came today to talk about the fact that the trucks that are parked on 132nd do not belong to Hanson Brothers. I've tried to call and get them towed because most of them are freight kind of trucks, and so they don't belong to Hanson Brothers. And I know that we're kind of getting a bad rap in that today we had a phone call from a resident who said, there is so much trash and litter out there. So we're like getting a group of us together, the employees together, to go out and clean the streets out there. Just wanted to let everyone know, if you see a truck out there that doesn't actually physically say Hanson Brothers Moving and Storage, it doesn't belong to us, and we certainly want to clean up that street as well. So again, I'll be calling, continue to call, and see if we can get those removed from the street there. Yeah. So, thank you.
Thank you. Was there anybody else last, okay, Stu, I see your hand going up. We'll get you next.
Then finally, I knew if I stayed long enough. I did have one more point. It's a kind of a sticking point for me, long-term resident, and it has to do with public safety. And I know that we have a police force that works diligently, and we're glad for that. But I honestly would like to see, and I don't know how the police take direction from whom and that sort of thing in the city. But I know that on many occasions in the last year, as I'm coming home, coming up the hill from the school past the fire station, I look, and clear back by the great big cell tower behind the fire station is a police car parked back there. And I suspect that maybe they're just sitting there doing forms or paperwork or something like that. But it just rankles me because they could just as easily sit right up by the street in the front where people would think they were actually enforcing the speed limit traffic on Newcastle Way. So I think what I'm saying is I'd like to see more visibility of the police cars around the city, driving through the neighborhoods. And as they're doing that, they can be watching for locations in the city. There are a lot of locations in the city where people's vegetation has gotten so overgrown that it literally blocks street signs, traffic signs, that sort of thing. And the police can report those to the Public Works Department so they can get them cleaned out. I just would like to see more enforcement of laws. There are cars right down here on 129th that park in front of the fire hydrant all the time. There are cars on my street, which is Southeast 74th, parking the wrong direction next to the curb all the time. There are cars with collector vehicle license plate parked on the street for weeks on end, never even moved. And these are just simple little traffic laws, but it'd be nice if we were just enforcing a few simple little traffic laws, because our country seems just hell-bent for election to pass laws, but then we never enforce them. And a law that isn't enforced isn't a law at all. It's just pandemonium. Thank you.
Thank you, Stu. I saw another hand. Chris? At the base of the microphone, there's a button. There you go.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank
Can
everybody.
you please state your name for the record?
Chris Brown, AKA Chris Brown. I'd like to thank you all for being council members. I know it's a tireless journey and thankless often. I wanted to add my my congratulations as well from my wife, Robin, to Jim. He's a tireless advocate of Newcastle. We would often drive by the tree day and night, and the guy would be lighting it up. He's a big reason why the celebration was what it was. So thank you, Jim. Awesome job. On behalf of Windtree, we hired a lot of people from that neighborhood. We're not from Windtree. We're off of 76, the crazy hill that gets closed when it snows, off of 113th. It's a blessing and a curse because when it does snow, we now have an outlet. They built a community behind our community about 4 years ago. And we're firsthand knowledge that while we have access to a more level playing field, under dangerous weather conditions, it has become a speedway. And we are going to, at some point, put ourselves before you to put some speed restrictions on that street. All of the people that spoke here on behalf of Wintry, I hope you guys get what you want. And I hope that the council has heard you, because it's better to act now than react later after something bad happens. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, that wraps up our second public comment. Thank you all for speaking. Moving on now to the, well, let me ask, I don't normally do this, but let me respond to a couple comments really quickly. Hanson Brothers, thank you for letting us know. Thank you for letting us know that. The police, who does the police answer to? I heard that question. The city manager directs the police chief. Of course, the police are King County law enforcement officers, so they also get direction from King County, but we certainly will pass on your concerns. There was a question about the slurry seal paving. Yes, we did not pay all of that money to that contractor because they did a bad job. And we made them do some remediation, like cleaning up all the messes in the gutters and the loose gravel and all that by sweeping for several weeks afterwards. What else did you ask? Oh, the speed limit, we voted as a council to lower the speed limit. And the reason we did that is we got a lot of neighbor complaints from that area. And that was a first easy, low-cost way to take care of the issue or address the issue as a first step. It wasn't like we're going to do this forever. We just want to see what we can do at a low-cost, easy solution to help that neighborhood and that community. So always under evaluation. I appreciate your feedback on that. This is the first person that's been opposite to what we decided, but it's important to have both sides. Thank you. Okay, moving on to planning calendar. That's the next thing. Go ahead, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Similar to tonight's meeting, we're in that time of year where we're going on new projects, and so a lot of project approval, project acceptance for the January 21st meeting. We'll have an update on CIP projects, and we'll let the Community Activities Commission get through their meeting tomorrow, but we anticipate that we'll do a study session with them for the January 21st meeting for their work plan. And then we'll have the T58 discussion.
So the discussion will start at 6:30 rather than 6, right? Do we need a whole hour for that?
Yeah, I anticipate, so I asked Amy George to make that part of their discussion tomorrow night.
Okay.
If they think they need more time, they should certainly let us know that, but we'll anticipate 6:30.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Questions? Okay, go ahead. Councilmember Charbonneau, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, looking at our January 21st meeting, I will make a motion. I would move that we add to the January 21st agenda a adoption of a Lunar New Year proclamation.
Yeah, I proposed that the Lunar New Year. I spoke to
I'm
it.
making a formal
We need a
motion.
second.
Okay.
Anybody want a second?
Oh, okay, a second. Because
That's okay.
I think I need to know this, okay.
Hold on. All right, so it's been moved and seconded to add a new Lunar New Year proclamation to the next meeting. Okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
can
wanna
I
speak to-
add?
Well, hold on, hold on. You made the motion, Councilmember Charbonneau. You want to speak to your motion?
Yeah, I believe that was Councilmember Burford's intent earlier. Robert's Rules of Order wording. I'm making this motion now, so she can have the opportunity to speak to it. So please go ahead.
Councilman Burford, you
Yeah,
want to
so
speak
it
to it?
was my intention, when I made a council comment, I already stated, I propose that our city issue a Lunar New Year proclamation recognizing the significant impact and the contributions of our Asian community, which makes up nearly 37% of our city's population. So I propose we make our proclamation on the 21st, because Lunar New Year will be on January 29th. That will be the first day of spring, AKA the Spring Festival. People call the Lunar New Year. So by making sure
So
we...
you're seconding the motion to,
I'm speaking to the motion.
okay.
Because we're going to, I propose we make the motion and then we vote on January 21st meeting. That's why we're adding to the
The
planning.
motion is now
under-
to bring it to the January 21st meeting, so we wouldn't vote again, right? So you're voting now to bring it and put it on the agenda. So you're seconding the motion. You made the first motion, so we have the motion on the floor. You have an additional comment? Go ahead.
Mhm.
Son, you might want to turn your microphone off. That might be a while. This is what I didn't want. This is what's going on that I'm going to put a stop to. This is a contentious, divisive, touchy issue that I think we need to come together and just talk through, apparently. I think what, Son, you're asking for specifically is added to the agenda, which, to me, having a discussion about something is a good thing. It's a good thing to have a discussion about it. Doesn't mean we're going to do it. I'm going to say about this what I said about the last thing with Jeff's thing. I just want to talk about it. Give me 2 weeks to talk about it. I feel the same way about this. There are strong emotions. We had that flag issue in the summer. We have the proclamation issues. We have, are we going to do a proclamation? Are we not going to do a proclamation? Does that mean you hate or love people? This is a touchy, divisive, tough issue. Here's my request to everybody on this dais. We're not voting for something today. We're talking about something today, tomorrow, right? This is a vote just to put something on an agenda to discuss it, I think, right? So I think that's not a bad thing to discuss the item. I'm not saying I'm for or against anything when I put on the agenda. Before my HOA meetings, we reach out to everybody, say, what do you want to discuss? I want to talk about trees. I want to talk about garbage cans. I want to talk about safety. I want to talk about the barbecue. Everything gets thrown on the agenda. And so I just want to say that I hope that Tom, Rob, Pradama, Son, Ari, Paul, and I can all come together and say, look, whether you're for or against proclamations, whether you're for or against flags, whether you're for or against this side or that side, the reason I'm wearing this purple tie is because I'm hoping, I'm begging, that let's not be divided over just can we talk about something. It may be a 4-3 vote when this comes up. You may not get this proclamation, right? You never know. So I can't guarantee you're going to get or not get what you want, Son. I'm just saying voting to add it to the next meeting to talk about ain't the end of the world. And so I'm not scared of anything being on the agenda and talking about it. So I just want to say that, and I'm praying, I'm hoping, I do not want to have a 4-3 vote. So that's my prayer right now, is that we can all say, okay, look, I may not like this proclamation idea, but at least we'll throw on the agenda. I just want to say that.
So to be culturally competent, I'd like to give some cultural background to the entire council. The reason why we don't need to vote today, because for Lunar New Year, we celebrate the 15th ahead and the 15th day ahead of Lunar New Year Day, and then 15th day after the Lunar New Year Day. So on 21st, because I see the Lunar New Year this year is on the 29th. So when we make the motion, when we bring this to our next council meeting, it will be on 21st. That will be exactly during the official celebration of the Lunar New Year. It's more culturally appropriate. And I welcome every council member and community members discussion, so we can work together. It's also my mission. I really, really want to see. Last year, I was so happy all the council members came to Lunar New Year celebration, and even our mayor. So you saw the crowd, and such a diverse crowd. People from all walks of life. It's really, really made my heart sing. It's honor our community. And over 30%, 37% of our community, our population. I wholeheartedly just want to see this happen. But I also respect your vote and your opinion and your ideas and your insights. Thank you. So I
Okay, we have a-
propose,
we
yeah.
have a-
So I
We have a
propose, yeah.
motion on the floor to add a discussion of the Lunar New Year proclamation to the next council meeting agenda.
So, can we clarify what the motion was? I believe the motion was to add a proclamation. No. The motion was to add a proclamation for the Lunar New Year. That was the motion.
Okay, fair enough. It was,
But staff is preparing a proclamation for the Lunar New Year for approval.
so we're voting on, essentially, we're going to be voting on whether to do the proclamation or
That's an
not.
important distinction
Right,
for
yes,
us,
it is.
because, so we know what we're doing.
Yes, it is.
I thought the motion was to add.
Yeah,
to
so
the
I
agenda
propose
to
we are-
discuss it
Hold on,
next
stop,
meeting.
hold on, everybody. So that was a motion originally. Somebody can amend the motion if they'd like, right? There's no
So
objection
this
to
is a
that.
different motion because we don't need to
Hold on.
vote tonight.
Hold on. The motion was to add the proclamation, which means we would direct the staff to write a proclamation.
Yes.
You seconded it. Now, if somebody wants to change it to a discussion, they can
No,
make
it's
an emotion.
not to add
Stop.
proclamation.
Stop.
Mhm.
If somebody wants to make an amendment to change it to a discussion or some other thing, they can do that now.
So, son, I'm talking to you. Please, let's have a motion to have it on the agenda. I know you're passionate about this and everyone you represent, and I think we can get this done if we work together. I'm just asking you, and I understand the cultural sensitivity around the issue and the date and all that kind of stuff. I'm hoping we don't have a 4-3 vote on this. And if we can just talk about it in the next meeting and then pass the next meeting after we coordinate and talk through it a little bit more. Otherwise, we're going to have a 4-3 vote and it's going to be a divided issue. So I need to better understand why we have to decide to approve the proclamation tonight instead of, because my
So we
understanding
don't
was.
need to decide tonight. Yeah, we don't need.
Okay, good. So she's
I will-
okay with
I will
my
bring
motion
up
is
this
that we add it to the
proposal.
agenda for discussion.
I will bring this proposal at the next meeting.
Hold on, stop. We got too many people talking at each other. Right now, we're going to get back, we have a motion on the floor to have the staff bring a proclamation to the next meeting. It was seconded. Are there any amendments to that motion?
Yes, I'd like to make an amendment
Okay.
to the motion and make it for a discussion at the next meeting.
Okay, so the motion has been amended to bring a discussion of the proclamation to the next meeting and add it to the agenda.
Yes.
Is there a second for that? There's no second.
So, so we can't discuss his amendment? So you're saying you want the proclamation next meeting, not the discussion next meeting? Is that what you need?
That's the motion on the floor.
But both things would happen, but we need to know what we're being directed to do.
Right, and
We
we're
can
still
put a
trying to figure that out.
proclamation in front of the council for approval. The council can still discuss it and then have the option to vote on it. If all we have is a discussion item, you're not voting on it next meeting. You're not approving a proclamation next meeting. There won't be a proclamation in front of the council to approve.
But remember, I mentioned this
Okay.
before the meeting.
We are going to vote on the motion right now. We're going to vote on the motion. We're going to vote on the motion to bring a proclamation next week to put it on the agenda. That means that next meeting, we still have to vote on the agenda item, okay? So we're not approving it tonight. We're asking the staff to write one. Is that clear to everybody? Councilmember Quigg, Deputy Mayor? Let me repeat that, okay? We are going to be voting to direct the staff to write a proclamation to have it on the agenda. It doesn't mean we're approving the proclamation tonight. We're going to be putting it on the agenda for next week, and then next week we can discuss it and approve it or disapprove it as stated. Okay. Wow. Okay. The motion on the floor is to direct staff, and I'm going to change the wording a little bit, to create a proclamation and put it on the agenda for the next meeting on January 21st. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion passes 6-1. Okay. That's it. Our meeting is adjourned. What?
Are we done
I
with
think
the
that
calendar?
we were gonna have another motion on the floor.
Yeah.
No, we're done.
Well, Son was going to, I thought. but
No,
she
we're
hasn't.
done.
I'd like
Meeting
to make a
adjourned.
motion.
Holy